Welcome to another bagel making adventure. It's Saturday here in sunny Orlando, Florida. I started baking a batch of bagels this morning. I measured out the flour, got about 16 ounces of flour in the mixing bowl, and then I knew I had to go ahead and prepare the water, yeast, and honey mixture to get that active dry yeast to activate. I tested the water, make sure that it was between 110 and 120 degrees. Just recently bought this thermometer so I could actually make sure that the water was between 110 and 120 degrees, because I've had a lot of trouble with getting the yeast to activate over my last few batches. And now I realize that that's probably because the yeast that I have is expired or dead. Don't know a lot about yeast, but now I've realized that it is a living ingredient, and I've had the same can of yeast for a few months now, and now I'm seeing on the label of the can itself, it says to make sure to use the yeast within 4 months of opening. So I tried to use this particular container of yeast and in the batch today, but it didn't activate. I gave it 10 minutes to activate. I mixed the yeast with the water and the honey, which has enough sugar for the yeast to be activated, and I gave it the 10 minutes, but it really didn't activate. And so rather than going through an entire recipe of bagel making to yield bagels that are pretty terrible, I'm going to the store now. Well, I'll go to the store after I go to the gym in order to pick up some new yeast that is actually fresh and that can actually be activated so that I can make a great batch of bagels. So I had to kind of put the recipe on hold for this morning. I'm gonna go to the gym, pick up the yeast, and then get back into it. Alright, I'm back, but disappointed to say that is absolutely the biggest bagel fail that I've ever had. I've failed several times with making bagels, but this is the first time that I've had to throw out the batch because it was just not recoverable at this point. I went to the supermarket, got actually two types of yeast, got active dry yeast and instant yeast, which I recently learned the difference between those two, and went to use the instant yeast for the first time in this recipe, but did it because that's what they used in the video recipe as well. And I get the warm water again, I make sure the flour is still good to go, mix the honey into the water and the amounts that are prescribed in the video and on the video's website, and then mix it all together using my stand mixer, and realized pretty quickly that this is not going to work out well, and I'm wondering what I did wrong. I'm wondering maybe I should have just tried to mix it by hand instead of using the stand mixer. That was the only thing I could think of. I assumed that was it, but then I started looking online again at the video and at the comments, and even though there were a ton of likes on the video and fewer dislikes, the most popular comments all said the same thing about the ingredient amounts on the website corresponding to the video are not right at all, and the biga is what they call it, the pre-ferment, the first part of the bagel recipe, was just way too sticky, way too watery, made a huge mess, totally not recoverable unless I added more flour, but at that point I'm just kind of guessing. So really disappointed, but I'm gonna try a different recipe tonight to be done tomorrow. So whatever. It's just a major fail. And still gonna try to kind of make the most out of it. Definitely disliked that video 100%, and bumped up the comments about how the recipe's totally useless given the ingredient amounts that are included on the recipe. So I guess I'll try again tonight. So let's see how that one goes.